So this show is back and I am so here for it. Let's see if I'm going to be Team Issa or Team Lawrence this season. First of all, I love how this show lights black people. I mean, there are so many different shades of blackness in this show and they light us properly. It can be done, Hollywood. It can be done. Because so many movies or TV shows that I see, and I see like a dark-skinned black person on there, or just a black person, period, and they're just lighted poorly unless they're really, really light-skinned. And I hate it because it's honestly something that I went through in school, where I had a teacher who verbally would say that he had a struggle with lighting me in scenes. And so like even working out here in Hollywood, whenever I'm like on set or like doing anything on camera with somebody who is like lighter complected, is that a word? I'm ghetto. Who has a lighter complexion, I get like knots in my stomach and I get so like, I don't know, like something happens to me. So basically seeing these people on this show and seeing that it's done properly and knowing that it can be done, I love it. I love it. So this episode opens up with Issa on a date with Lawrence. And when I saw that, I was just like, I gasped at my television. I was just like, wait a minute, what's going on? I need a backstory. But it turns out that she was just daydreaming, I guess, about being on a date with him. And she was actually on like these multiple Bumble and Tinder dates. And what I love about this show, and I think I'll probably say this a lot, is that it's so relatable because every woman has been on like a date like this with like just random dudes asking random questions. And some of the guys actually seemed pretty okay, but she's still in love with Lawrence. So she wasn't like really focusing on, on the dudes, but it was just like this montage of these like awkward dates that she was on. And what I also loved about this was that she used a lot of black Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube stars. These guys are ridiculously talented, but they don't get the mainstream love that their talent requires. So I'm so happy that she's putting them on a major network like this and giving them some shine, because this can really help catapult their careers and get them to the next level that they deserve. But because of the color of their skin, they're just not getting the appreciation that is necessary. So I love that she's doing this. I love how there is a community of black creatives out here who are really about helping each other and working together. I think this generation of artists out here in Hollywood finally get it, that if we don't do it together, we're not going to make it. You know what I mean? Like we need each other to get to the next to get to the next level, or to even break in, because no tea, no shade, but these white dudes ain't gonna open up no doors for us, you know what I mean? So we kind of have to do this together. So I just really love that she is opening up the doors for them, opening up at least this door and giving them an opportunity that they so deserve. Now see, this is my show. The next scene is Molly at therapy. Thank you, Issa. Thank you. Black people need therapy too. I love that this is being focused on, because this is something, again, that we don't do in my beautiful community. So we get this scene where Molly is at therapy and she's realizing that she has some issues. But at this point in her journey with her therapist, she's not ready to like open up, because the therapist is trying to talk to her and get some stuff out. And she's like, I'm okay. But I love that mindset as well, because I think in this scene, and maybe I'm reading it too deep. No, I'm not. In this scene, I believe we get two ideas of the black community concerning mental health. And there's one part where it's just like, I have a problem or something's going on with me, so I need somebody to talk this thing out with, because I don't know what's going on with me. And then there's this other side of complete denial. I'm fine. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. There's actually something wrong with you for asking me these questions. So I really like that those both ideas were merged into this scene, because this is something that we don't really talk about in the black community, because if Jesus don't fix it, then Allah will. You know what I mean? I'm glad that they're talking about it in this episode, because I think that it's something that needs to be talked about in the black community. And I believe that black millennials are a little bit more open to getting the help that we so desperately need. I mean, we go through a lot of trauma on a daily basis. Like just even getting up and going outside and dealing with the crap that we have to deal with on a daily basis, that is enough to fill up a therapist's couch for a year. You know what I mean? So it's necessary, and I'm glad that we're focusing on it with the main character. Now, I have always been Team Issa or Issa. Which one is it? I've heard so many different versions. Is it Issa or Issa? Issa. I'm gonna go with Issa because I like how that sounds. So Issa, but I felt like it said Issa on the show. Issa, Issa, she's desperately missing Lawrence, and I've been riding with her from the beginning, right? Even when she messed up, I was giving her excuses. But now she's going through this whole you don't know what you got till it's gone, because now she's missing that couch warmer. But before he was getting on her nerves, he made her stick to her stomach. Now she's missing him. You gotta appreciate what you got, because you go out there, you try to find something else, and you realize it ain't what you had at home. Child. Girl, then we cut to Lawrence, and my God, he is living his life. The sex scenes on this show, it's just, you know what I mean? The sex scenes on this show are like a horror movie, like jump scare. You don't know when it's gonna hit, and out of nowhere, it's just Lawrence's chocolate behind, and I'm just like, oh. I remember when I watched season 1, my mom, I was in Philly, and I was watching with my mom, who recommended this show to me. And she was like, oh my goodness, you got to see Issa's show. It's so good. It's so good. So I watched it with her, having no idea. And I don't know why I didn't think that there would be sex. I mean, it's HBO, but I thought that it would just be like curse words. But I didn't know that we were going to get all these sex scenes. And I'm like sitting there watching the show with my mom, and Lawrence is blowing this girl's back out. And I'm just like, so every time I see Lawrence's butt, I think of my mom. That was really weird, but I hope you followed me. Lawrence is still banging Tasha from the bank, and this was the first scene where I really didn't like his character. Because last season, listen, I gave him a pass for cheating. I just have to be honest. She broke his little, depressed heart. That's the thing. Homeboy was depressed and he was going through a little something. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying I understood why he went out, right? But now that Tasha is becoming like a character on this show, and we're getting to see more scenes with her and not just like the jump off, I am starting not to like how Lawrence is using her. You know what I mean? I felt like if we just didn't see her anymore, then maybe I'd be like, okay, it's one and done. But now that he's still sleeping with her, I'm starting to not like him, because in this scene, like after he like has sex with her, he makes fun of how she says zaddy. You know what I mean? Like he makes fun of that, and she doesn't really register with her, because she seems like to be like some ditzy like hood girl, right? And I get that he is still in love with Issa, but I just don't like the fact that not only is he using this girl, he also doesn't think too highly of her, because the things about her that are her normal quirks, he makes a joke of. So I don't know. I just didn't like it. That made me feel some kind of way, because not only are you like using her as like a dumpster for your man juice, you're also like demeaning her, because you don't really care about her, and you don't really think that much of her, because just the things about her you look down upon. See, that was the thing. Like he was joking about how it was just the way he expressed, the way she said zaddy. It just seemed to me like it was very classist, and I didn't like him. I'm like, if you think she too hood, or you think she too ghetto, and you don't like how she talk and say things, stop banging her. Ugh, I don't know, Lawrence. And just as Lawrence was getting on my nerves, I started to feel for him again, because then we see him staying with his friend Chad, who I didn't like last season, but I'm starting to like this season, because I feel like he is just like the voice of reason, but it's just the way he voices reason that is so like, he has no hold. You know what I mean? He's no holds barred. He says it like he means it, okay? He's the Wendy Williams of this show. So he doesn't hold back. He watches Lawrence blow up an air mattress in his living room. He just starts giving him some truth tea right off the bat. And the thing about this that got me is that if you don't live in LA, you don't know the air mattress struggle. Let me tell you something. I have spent a good few years on an air mattress in law. I have went through so many air mattresses, because that's just how it is out here. You stay like bunking with different people, or you can't I've been in positions where I couldn't afford a bed, so I had to get an air mattress. So this scene hit home. Lawrence is blowing up this air mattress. Chad is just giving him some truth tea. You know what I mean? Just really letting him know that you gotta figure out what you're doing, because you're still thinking about this girl. You're banging this other girl. You're coming here, you're not sleeping over. So like what you got to get yourself together. You know what I mean? He's really telling him about himself. So I'm really starting to see Chad in a different light, because last season he was just so cocky and so annoying, and I felt like he was that friend that was leading Lawrence astray. But now I'm seeing him in a different light, as that friend that tells you the truth whether you like it or not. What's sad about it? Issa and Lawrence really love each other. But what this episode shows is that there's so much pride on both sides. They are both living miserable lives. When we see them in the beginning, we see how they cope with just, you know, everyday misery, and then you get them alone, or you get them in these situations and you see like the truth of the matter, what's going on. So to go from Lawrence like banging this girl and it seems like he's having such a good time, but then you see how he responds and reacts to this girl as she just breathes or speaks, and you see that there's not love there's just sex. And then you cut to a scene where him, like, this grown man who once had a home with someone that he loves is now sleeping on an air mattress, you know what I mean, and in a living room. So he doesn't really have his own space as a grown adult, and it's just not what it's cracked up to be or what they're trying to show the rest of the world. And the both of them are just in this situation where it's just like, it sucks because they can't get back together so quickly because they've already told everybody they've already told their friends or whatever would happen. So you have all these other people in the relationship, and then because of pride, it's just like with Lawrence, I can't go back to her because she cheated on me and I'm a man, you know what I mean? And then with Issa, it's just like, how much can I apologize for what I did? I know I was wrong, but this is the reason why. So it's just so many issues and so much pride going on. And it's just, of course, in a perfect world, they would just sit down and talk it out and put all their emotions on the table and, you know, move on. But that's just not life. That's just not how it works. There are really good relationships that break up because people never talk and discuss their issues. And then there are really bad relationships that stay together because people don't really talk about the issue. So somebody is in that relationship unfulfilled, or both partners are unfulfilled. Life is hard. And you can see how pride has destroyed the both of them, because here you have Issa going on all these dates trying to find Lawrence with dudes that don't even amount up to Lawrence, and Lawrence sitting here banging this girl. No matter how much he has sex with her, he's still not fulfilled, because as soon as he ejaculates, she's just like a joke all over again, you know what I mean? And then he goes back to his air mattress. Pride. Talk it out, y'all. So Issa has a way in. She gets Lawrence's mail, and she's trying to use like this mail as a way to like talk to him, but he is giving her like the one-worded text, and he's saying he's going to come over and get it. He doesn't really want it, and doesn't really stop over. Like he's playing this game with her, right? Because he knows that she feels bad, that she's sorry, and she wants to like talk to him. So he'll engage her, but he won't engage her fully. So he'll be like, oh, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? And he'll keep on responding. And so instead of not responding, he'll play that game where I'll respond a little bit, or I'll respond late, or I'll say I'm coming to get it and then don't show up. So this is the game that he's playing with her, right? She finally gets a piece of mail that she can hold him to it. It's jury duty mail, so he has to like respond to that because he has to like come pick it up. She gets really excited because she knows that he has to come get it. Jury duty to her is a way to finally trap him into having a conversation about what's happened. You know what I mean? Because she wants to move on. Like, she misses her man. She knows she messed up, and she wants it to go back to how it used to be. Even though she was miserable in that situation, she'd rather take that than not having him at all. Let's talk about Molly and this white co-worker making more than her. Haven't we all been there? Haven't we like accidentally seen how much like co-worker was making and was just like disgusted by it? I remember I saw how much a co-worker was making. The co-worker was white, and I could not believe that they were making that much more than me. That's when I got out of like corporate America, because I was just like, ain't no way I'm gonna run this rat race and still be behind somebody like this. Because not only was this coworker a hot mess, no tea, no shade to nobody who does not have a college degree, but I had a college degree, you know what I mean? All she had was a diploma. I'm not knocking that, but automatically, because I am already educated in this field, I should be making more than her. And I was not, and I was so disgusted by that. I was just like, wow, I can have all of these medals and honors, and I can have this degree and that degree and that degree. It still will not allow me to catch up to her because I don't have the melanin worthy of a raise. America. However, I had a little issue with this scene, and the only issue that I had was that Molly made this statement about men making more than women. Just didn't like how it was addressed, that it was a woman's issue, because to me it wasn't solely a woman's issue. I guarantee you that there are white women in that office who are not even as skilled as Molly, who's making more than Molly, you know what I mean? We also have to, I wanted them to also highlight, but you know what, it's the first episode, they can't do everything, but I did want it to be highlighted, and it probably will be highlighted in the remainder of the season, but I wanted her to address that also, you know, black women make less than white women who are already making less than than men. So I just wanted that to be highlighted as well, because I'm just like, girl, you're not making less because you're a woman. You're also making less because you're a black woman. That was just what I wanted to be addressed. But I just love the fact that they addressed that, because that is definitely something that happens in a workplace. Oh, I totally forgot to talk about my favorite scene of this episode. When Issa got that jury duty mail from Lawrence and and she contacted him about it. She went through all of these outfits because she thought he was going to come over to get it right away. So she went through all of these outfits, and then she prayed to the Lord because she felt like she was about to do some whole stuff when he came over. It was just so funny to me. I love when she was like, here's your jury duty now. Here's your jury boots. She is so... God, shout out to awkward black girls, man. It's our season. So Issa throws an entire party to make it look like she's well off when Lawrence comes over to get his jury duty mail. Because Molly was just like, dudes don't really want you until they know that you're doing good without them. So she throws this entire party because she scheduled at a time when Lawrence was going to come over to get the mail. So she did this whole thing, and then this party went way left. First of all, it was just for her and a few of her bougie friends. But girl, it got turned up because her neighbor came over, the Blood. What is his name? Yoda. Yoda the Blood. He comes over and he immediately is attracted to Kelly. And they had this funny little scene, and I was so excited about this because I really hope they get together, because those are they are my two favorite characters of this show. I love Kelly and I love Yoda. It's just, and Yoda doesn't have a lot of scenes, but when he enters a scene, he steals it, because he comes over to Kelly and he's just like, oh, you beautiful. And she was just like, I don't need no man that's color coded. Yeah, you know what? Shout out to Natasha Rothwell. She plays Kelly. She's actually a writer on the show as well. And she also has this, she's a part of the Netflix series called Characters, which is hilarious. You need to watch the whole thing. Like, there are so many funny, like, I think this, is it just well, it's improvisers and writers, the whole shebang. It's they do like their most famous characters, the characters that they're really known for. And I watched Natasha's, and she's just phenomenal. What she does on this show is just a peek into her creativity. Like, the girl is bananas. You know what? I don't know if I know Yoda, the guy who plays Yoda, from anything else, but this right here, if this is the first thing he's done, or this is the first thing that he's most notable for, then brother, you about to take off, because you play a memorable character. Because to this day, like, there are so many scenes that I can remember from season 1, but the one that sticks out to me the most is when he was moving the couch and he was like, yeah, I'm just moving this couch. I was like, I kid not, because it's so real. This show is so real. Her entire apartment complex, that crazy old neighbor that she has, that's when she's getting the jury duty mail, or like when she's getting her mail, she's just yelling at her through the screen, like having a full conversation with her through the screen. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is my life. Can I tell you, I had a neighbor like that. We would have conversations through her screen door. Like, to this day, I don't know what she looks like, but I knew she was an old black woman, and she knew everything that was going on in that apartment complex, and you never knew if she was sitting there or not, or if her door was closed or if it was open, because it was just darkness. So Yoda brings his blood friends to the party, and they start blood walking. I didn't know that there was a blood walk. I thought it was just a crip walk. But I guess, you know, the Bloods have their own dance as well. They start blood walking, and then the weed and the liquor start flowing. Next thing you know, Issa's apartment is on fire. So as soon as the apartment catches on fire, party over. But while everybody is leaving the party, her apartment is on fire. People are running out. Yoda looks to Kelly, and he was just like, can I get your number? And Kelly was like, nigga, no. And so what is the budget for this show? Because girl, the songs that you are playing, like the soundtrack for each season has just been phenomenal. Like this show alone, like I was going through the credits, like trying to get the songs, because like she plays like really, really good music, but I'm just like, what is the budget for this show? Because I know you got to pay for these songs to play. I remember I was working on the show, and my gosh, they was just like, they would only play a snippet of this because we gotta pay for that, and they was just like, the music alone takes up a lot of our budget. So for her to not only, like, she's playing more than snippets, and she's also playing like hot songs by like dope known artists. Like, so I'm just like, are they either giving you a break or you got a good budget? Girl, go head. I swear this show plays with my emotions because every time somebody knocked on that door for this party, I thought it was going to be Lawrence. I thought it was going to be Lawrence, and so did Issa. It wasn't, but then it was, because baby, Issa is cleaning up in boy shorts, looking, I'm not saying a hot mess, but she's not looking how she wanted to look when he came over. She gets a knock on the door and it's Lawrence. And so for a second, she's just like, she's freaking out because she's just like, do I go change? Do I go? And then she realizes my behind is out. You know what I mean? So she opens the door and she just sits there. She looks at him and she's just like, oh, the mail is right there. And she gives him the mail and then he's just like, oh, I left something in the bathroom. So he goes and he gets whatever he was going to get. And then he comes out and he looks at her. And my God, today, my wig was snatched. He just looks at her, and then the next thing you know, his pants is down, her boy shorts is off, and they are having some good sex. Now, let's talk about this, right? Because all my friends were just like, oh my goodness, it was like 3 or 4 pumps, and that was it. But let me tell you, these sex scenes were put in this show for a reason. Because the first time we saw Lawrence this episode, he was banging out that girl, giving her a couple strokes, bam, 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 and she's zaddy, right? But then we get to this scene, and he is just like growling to the point where I had to turn down my TV because I was like, I don't know what my neighbors think I'm watching. She was growling, and I was just like, you know what? Can we talk? You know, as an actress, right? Acting is creating real life circumstances in imaginary situations, right? This wasn't no acting, okay? Let me tell you something. You can act, but you have to go there, right? And when you go there, you really have to like believe this. I'm sorry, I didn't see and maybe the costume department did a really good job, but I didn't see like any like flesh colored panties or anything like that. When Issa ripped off them boy shorts, it was just her bare behind. And then it was Lauren's bare butt. And I was just like, girl, are you spread eagle for this man? What is going on? HBO. But anyway, back to the scene. But I was just like, I know she not faking it. Actress to actress, I know that girl not. She was there. How can you not? That big chocolate man in between your legs. Whew. What was I talking about? It's in Lawrence. So anyway, woo! I'm sweating. My God, today. Anyway, let me get some water. Anyway, my friends and I we're still having a debate about this on Facebook because they were just like, oh my, a lot of people didn't like it. And I was like, guys, you have to understand when he's having sex with Tasha, I believe, he doesn't love her, nor does he want her. So it's easy. It's just like he's giving himself a hand job, to be quite honest with you. So he doesn't really feel anything. But he loves Issa. So like she represents his home, his heart. So when he sees her, his African loins, start to just fill up. I'm trying to explain this without being vulgar. But like that's the truth. Like his whole body was overcome with he hadn't seen her in a long time. So he was just overcome with just emotion and feelings, and that she's essentially his home. So when he grabs her and gets inside of her, talking about characters, goes inside of her, he can't contain himself because he hasn't been home for such a long time, and he finally gets to go home, and he he loses it. Literally, okay? Because it was about 3 pumps and it was over. I said, Issa, you better go, girl. Stuff so good that boy can't last. Well, anyway, after about 3 or 4 good pumps, he releases into his home, and then he gets up, pulls up his pants, she pulls up her boy shorts, and she sits there. First of all, her hair was a mess, okay? Because her hair was braided up and twisted. Y'all know how natural hair be. And I guess he rocked her hair all out of place. She got up, the braids is all twisted. And she's sitting there on the couch, and then because he goes to the bathroom and cleans up, and then he comes out and he kisses her, and then he leaves. And she sits down, and she doesn't know, what's going on. And girl, neither did I, because I was sitting on the couch what just happened? I love this this show. Well, anyway, that's where it ends. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'll continue to review this show as long as I have the time because I really, really do enjoy it. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you for the following episode of Insecure. Bye, guys.